please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone. We'll start with I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Need a motion to approve Board of Education meeting minutes for the February 21st, 2019 meeting. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Like to abstain?
One abstention. All right, next is Patron Comments, and we do not have any Patron Comments tonight. So we will move on to 6.01, which is Superintendent and Board Comments. So we're going to start with our Superintendent, Dr. Eric Knost.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good crowd tonight. We must have a good agenda.
I guess.
We should do this more often. Good to have everybody. I have a couple of things, maybe a little bit more lengthy of a superintendent's report than normal. We've got some exciting things to talk about. We've got Dr. Marty here. I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're going to talk about some more really neat partnering between the Rockwood and Parkway school districts. Wanted to start off today and just talk a little bit about something that's kind of a little bit of a courageous topic. It seems like in recent times, the news media, local here in St. Louis, tends to be interested in picking up issues dealing with topic of diversity and racism that we all know exist in our society, and things that we know that we have to continue to tackle. And I think sometimes the story, you know, when things are so critical, there was even at our board forum the other night, which I couldn't make it, and I apologize for that, but I did watch it. You know, there's a question that almost implied that that racism is alive and well, and the school district doesn't do anything about it. And I just want to be very clear that I have always led from the point of accepting that we're in continuous improvement. We can always improve on what we do. We can always better, and we always should. We have fault. We're not perfect, but we love kids. And sometimes in those conversations, just like generalized comments tend to sound like they're saying a lot of really bad things about all kids, and we just have to be careful with that. And again, while improvement is always something we want to do, I wonder sometimes, the information's out there. People don't always seek the information. News media, when they want to run a story, don't always ask the questions that really help understand a lot of the background stuff that is so key and so important, and some of the things that we have in Rockwood that speak to our efforts to be proactive. And I'm going to say this probably 3 or 4 times. We're not perfect, and we can improve, and we should improve, and we have to continue looking for ways to improve. But you know, we do a lot of things through we have a Department of Equity and Diversity that's been around for a long time. I didn't create that. They do so much good programming. We have equity teams in our district. We have social justice teams in our district. We have multicultural clubs. We have anti-bullying ambassadors. We engage in the Anytown week-long diversity program. We engage in Gateway to Change. We're involved in Youth Leadership Focus St. Louis, the Diversity Awareness Partnership. And when it comes to staff and staff training, some of these opportunities that I just don't know that people know that we put in place for our staff. Here's some of the workshop titles. I'm going to name a number of them, but just to help make this point, some of the names. Compassionate Educator is one of them. Colorism in Class. The VIC 101 bus tour, where we take staff through the route of a VIC bus and into the communities where some of our city students reside. Building inclusiveness communities, STEM and race, color matters, exploring white privilege, race, trauma, and toxic stress, fortifying real relationships with students in color, creating inclusive spaces, creating social change, racial sensitivity, educating black male youth, creating safe places, trauma, race, and schools. And I'm kind of picking and choosing out of that list. But this is a hard topic to talk about, you know, in a lot of forums, but it's one we have to talk about. But it feels wrong when it's talked about in a way that we have a school district that doesn't care about these things. We do. We know we have to deal with these things. We know we have to face them. It's not always for a world stage when we're dealing with these things. And you know, the sad thing is anybody can pick up a phone and call the media and say whatever they want, and there's so much that we can't say. So we have to stick to our story of what we do and how we do it. And we love kids. There's not an educator in this room that doesn't love every single kid that walks through our doors, and that's the way we lead, and that's what we expect from our educators. And we're going to continue to improve. Anytime we have a situation that is stressful to anybody, to any child, even one child, we're going to figure out how we can improve on that and make it better and move forward in the process. So I just felt that needed to be said and needed to be heard from the superintendent of the school district. And I know Dr. Marty and I have talked about our frustrations even locally, not only in Rockwood, but the way sometimes the media can handle incidents in schools and not really tell the whole story, and almost appearing that they want it in a way to stir controversy. Not in a healthy way. There's a healthy way to stir things, you know, to have the conversations and to grow from them, but not in a way to just make controversy. So we're kind of all dealing with it right now, and we would never deny the need to tackle these topics, these courageous topics, and to deal with them and be proactive about them. But we do. The important thing to know is that we do take them seriously, and we're always looking to improve. So enough of that. Thank you for listening and for entertaining my thoughts there. Next, I would like to ask Dr. Marty to come up to the presentation table. We're excited. We call each other Keith and Eric, so we don't want that to be any different tonight. So Keith and I have been, I tell you, I will miss Keith's collegiality and just partnering, and we have, I think, been very good for each other in the West County roles. We have good, funny jokes we like to talk about, the difference between the Parkway and the Rockwood schools and which one's better, and Keith likes to remind people he's a better looking superintendent than I am, and I'm a better musician than he will ever be, and we have fun with that.
I got kidded today because you were at the basketball game last night and I wasn't. I got teased a lot.
Yes,
so, yeah.
and I talked to all your people.
I know you did.
I covered for you. You know, the reason we're here tonight, we want to talk about some more ideas with partnering that we're moving forward and we're really excited about. But to kind of set the stage, you know, big focus in both Rockwood and Parkway, and really in education in general, is we're trying to get to a concept of learning that is different than the industrial model of education. And you've heard us talk so many times about being more hands-on, providing more project-based, more real-time learning where kids are learning on the job, more opportunities for STEM, more project lead the way, project interface, examples of like our geometry and construction class, our AMPed class, our elementary innovative spaces. So many of this is the concept that it's the information age and kids need to know how to critically think, and it's not so much sit in a classroom and open up their head and pour all kinds of information in that they have to remember and regurgitate on a test. Giving them authentic learning experience has been the effort, and both districts have very rich innovative examples of what we've been doing. And two in particular we're here to talk about tonight. I'll talk about the Rockwood, and then I'm going to ask Keith to talk about Parkway's program. But one is our early college partnership, where we have created a partnership, a lot of help from Todd, who is sitting back there. But we have kids that are aligning their school program with Wildwood Community College, St. Louis Community College, starting their junior year. And we have our first batch this year where they're going to graduate from Rockwood with a Rockwood diploma, and we're going to hear from them tonight too. That's kind of cool that worked out. And they're also going to get an associate's degree as graduating seniors from high school. And we really think that this is a wave of the future, and something that we want to help Parkway share in, and exchange some management duties of sharing that. And then on Parkway's side, they have the Spark program. I'll let Keith talk a little bit about Spark.
And again, thank you for having me, and really appreciate the opportunity to share our program, which is the Spark program. People sometimes, when they think of the Spark program and been to Chesterfield Mall and you've seen the Spark, that's the program. It's actually one of 6 strands. That's an incubator startup initiative. There are actually 2 sections that go on there. But we also have a teaching and learning strand, a bioscience, a medical strand, engineering a strand as well, and a technology solution. So we have 6 strands, about 150 students currently in those 6 strands. And our students are doing very, very well. Some of our students have got we got wonderful stories to talk about what happens to some of the students that have gone on to, we just heard recently about a girl who was #1 in her nursing class at Mizzou, and she had all kinds of choices and came back to Mercy Hospital. Her parents are very, very proud to graduate #1 in her class, and the Mizzou people couldn't believe of all the experiences she had because of the Spark program, shadowing and seeing surgeries. But all those programs give students rich opportunities, and our principals recently and several administrators, we got to go to and see the early college program, and the administrators got to see a couple of our strands. So we're very excited about our Spark program. We do have an opportunity to eventually grow that, but we're very, very cautious about wanting to have quality programs. But we think over the years we'll have more strands and more opportunities for students. So that's our initiative, and I know that the Rockwood folks have been interested in that. And I have to say, we in Parkway have looked at this early college program with envy. So that's really kind of the startup, and I'll let Ari continue with the story here, how we've kind of moved on.
And the idea is that when we have these programs in place, so we have the management of our early college partnership in place, and Parkway has the management of their Spark program in place. So what we recently, Keith and I both reached out to our newly returned commissioner, Van Dieven, and talked with her and got her blessing. The idea that we can utilize the management of each district to allow students, Parkway can basically create their early college partnership program, but under our management. And we can create our Spark program, but under Parkway's management. So we can open up those opportunities for kids in a way that we're, in essence, sharing resources, sharing especially human resources, and expand more of those opportunities. Now, it's not, we have to be real clear, we're not suddenly going to have 200 kids in Spark and 200 Parkway kids underneath the early college partnership. So it's going to be a very slow build on the partnership, but we really think that as these things grow, and it's more and more kids are going to want to take advantage of these opportunities, and it's just an exciting thing. And we know our partnerships have worked already. We have the partnership with our community education and our adult ed program, which, by the way, you may have to pinch hit for me. I was asked to speak at the adult ed graduation, but we have a board meeting that night.
Been speaking the last 3 years. I told them they should come and get you.
I know, but you may have to cover again. So anyway, we didn't really feel that a formal presentation was needed for this, but we're excited about it. Again, we've been talking about it for quite a long time. It's exciting for me to see it come to fruition before I wrap up, to just add to our catalog of innovative things to do, to educate kids, things that so many of us, to have such a rich catalog, so many of us would have just loved to have as children, and we didn't. We had all the industrial model as far as our ways of learning. So we're excited about that, and we're going to move forward and have some kids in place in both sides of that program beginning in the fall.
I was talking to both Kathy and Lisa, and one of the exciting things I think is what, and it happened again today. I think our staffs are really working together on this. So Eric and I are kind of, we're maybe the vision people here and got some ideas, and then we step aside, and I know our principals are working together, and people in the district administration, Dr. Watson and Dr. Counts have been working together with others. So that's exciting, I think, to see administrators and principals work together in these programs. When I was here several years ago when we announced the community ed program, that has just been a marvelous partnership, as is the adult ed program. And we just think that the two districts can benefit, even though we're large districts and we have resources, as Eric said, for us to be able to not have to start at ground level with the early college program, and Rockwood not to have to start at ground level with a Spark-like program is really a benefit, because we can move quickly here and grow these programs. And there'll be issues ahead as these programs grow. Then we're going to have to talk about probably additional staffing, additional costs. But in the beginning, as we told Margie, we don't really, they don't see a lot of additional costs, and it's a way to get these programs initiated for us to learn together. And again, our adults learning as well as our students. So we're really excited about this in Parkway. Eric's going to be at the Parkway board meeting next week, much like I'm here tonight, and kind of show our togetherness in this project. And I must say, I'm going to miss Eric too. He's, as you know, a person of vision and action, and I'm so happy we were able to do this before he left us here. And I know he's really committed to getting this off the ground. So I want to thank the board for your support of that as well. We really appreciate the cooperation.
Any questions for either Keith or
Dr. Marty? You mentioned 6 strands. That's existing strands to
Yes.
the program?
Yeah.
A couple examples? I won't ask you to name all
Well,
6.
the incubator program at the mall, at the Chesterfield Mall, is one. And actually, we have 2 at Maryville. Tech Solutions and Engineering are actually housed at Maryville. So these programs are purposely housed away from our schools. And then we have a bioscience program at the Danforth Center. We have a teaching and learning strand, which is located at Highcroft, and these are for young people that are thinking about a career in teaching. And then the healthcare or health academy, we call it, is housed at St. Louis Community College, or I should say Lindenwood College, a site over by Westport. But the second semester, the students spend their whole time shadowing at 2 sites, BJC on Olive and at St. Luke's, which is a brand new site. And perhaps we can say that we believe we're going to grow this. St. Luke's is expanding to the De Pere, and they've given us somewhat of a verbal commitment for the fall of 2021, with the idea that will be a lot of Rockwood opportunities there potentially. And then Eric and I really want to start looking at other opportunities, or we'll look at some other hospitals as well, because we know there's a big interest there in both districts, so many careers in the medical field. So I think I covered all 6 strands, didn't I? If I counted right?
That's the reason I asked. I was hoping you'd mention Maryville, so I wouldn't have to. Thank you.
Yes. And again, our program, the Spark program, is a model of the CAPS program in Blue Valley. The difference there is that the business comes to the school. We purposely wanted our students to be out in the community, be in places like Maryville, away from and so they really kind of get away from the normalcy of bells and the daily work of schools.
Thank you.
And we visited, I could just say we were excited. We visited Todd in the early college program, and we were really excited about what we saw. And I know we're going to hear the students tonight. We had a panel of students, and what excitement they brought to us.
all right.
Well, thanks for having me. Appreciate it very much.
Keith.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Good to
showing
see
up.
Keith.
Okay, one more item, matter at hand.
Go ahead.
After 8 long years, we are unfortunately losing Matt Dole as one of our board members, and we've got a plaque for him, but I'm going to say my thoughts now, and then I'll let Madam President orchestrate whatever other thoughts people have. I've worked with a lot of board members over the years. I couldn't count them anymore if I had to. Some of them I don't even remember because they're just not people you remember. Most of them you do. But Matt, I say this with all sincerity, you are top of the heap. Just a class act. Your presence in the boardroom, both open and closed, is just always something that is powerful in a good way. Sometimes just has, not always a man of a lot of words, but sometimes just the right words to kind of bring a conversation together or where it needs to be. Always centered around doing what's right for kids. Never heard Matt offer any advice or any direction or even any leadership in his role as board president for those years that wasn't about doing what was great for kids. I'm going to miss you either way, Matt. I'll miss you even if you were here. In fact, I even tried to talk Matt into re-upping even after I was announced that I was leaving, because I just think that he is a big part of Rockwood and has just provided great leadership, great knowledge, and child-centered wisdom. And for that, I'm thankful, and we have a plaque.
Matt, I'm going to, on behalf of the board, and then if anybody else wants to chime in, they're more than welcome. So I've been on the board for 6 years, and I'm the one who's following in your footsteps here, being the president. And yeah, like, I can't even begin to describe what being your colleague has meant to me. You've been supportive, exactly what Eric said. I mean, you are, I'm going to miss being able to just look across and ask you a question when I mess up on something. But Rockwood has been so fortunate to have you, and you've stepped up time and time again when you certainly didn't need to. And hats off to you. You are really, really going to be missed. So we're going to let you ride off into the sunset and enjoy your Thursday evenings 2 times a month, yes. But before anyone else says anything, we have something here from the board. So thank you very much for all your time, and we certainly appreciate it, Matt. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else like to add something? Feel free.
As a relatively new board member, Matt was one of the first people that welcomed me to the board. He's given me vision. He's shared his leadership skills, has kept me on the straight and narrow when I've contacted him, and never gives advice, but gives you words, sage words of wisdom. And so thank you, Matt, for being there.
Dr. Kinder.
Matt and I have been on the board together for 8 years. We came on together, and he's going to leave 1 year before I do. But when we came on, he was all brown-headed, and I was all blonde. So you can tell what's happened from there. I wrote on his card, and I could talk forever on Matt, because we have really, I think we've been true friends. I think we've worked very well together. But what I wrote on his card, Matt is a true friend forever. His only agenda has been what is best for our students. That is Matt Stoll. That's all I can say.
If I could then, probably not going to surprise anybody that I'm not very good at long goodbyes, so I'll try and be brief. I do think that the heart of every organization is its people. That's where the fun comes from. That's often where the difficult times come from, but it's what makes it worth doing. I've had the privilege of working with some of the very best people here on the staff and on the board, and it was a better experience than I could have ever wished for. And for that, I am truly grateful. I think Kathy's going to help me with something here. These little guys are made by a friend of mine. He calls them seeds of happiness. They're ceramic. Don't eat them. They come in different shapes, but these are specifically made for people that work in education. There's a card inside of each one of them that talks about what they are and how they came to be. But for now, they're just for fun. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be a part of the Rockwood School District. I can't begin to tell you how proud I am of that. I want to thank you for the many friendships that I've gained while my time on the board. And most of all, I want to thank you for the great work you've done for all of our kids, including mine, who are both graduates of Eureka High School. And at the end of all of that, I would truly wish for each and every one of you the very best. Thank you.
That's all I have for my report tonight.
All right. Any board comments? I guess we kind of did do board comments. Any other board comments? All right, moving right along. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So move.
I have a motion and a second. Dr. Kinder?
One item, one donation tonight, Marquette Parent Organization, monetary donation of $4,000 for the assistance with MHS spring break service trip. I plead ignorance. I'm not sure where they're going. Anybody know where they're going this year?
Please.
Where?
Florida, who is it?
You guys know?
You
Florida?
going? No.
No.
Oh, you know they're going to Florida. Okay.
Are you going?
Florida.
Oh. It's not a vacation in Florida.
No.
It's a service project, so they're going to be working maybe with Habitat for Community. But the donation will assist in lowering the dollar amount charged in participating students and aiding students that are in need of scholarship opportunities to attend the Marquette Spring Break service trip, which will be next week, during spring break.
Anything else out of consent? 7:14?
Do as well.
Okay, anything else? All right, so the motion is to approve the consent agenda items as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed? All right, that passes. All right, next up, this is exciting, 8.01, Early College Partnership Student Perspective. And this was brought to us by the COPE Committee, so I'm welcoming Todd Minicello, first of all. And then you're going to introduce the students? Okay, great, welcome.
Thank you. So as Dr. Knost mentioned, we have 60 fantastic students over there, full immersion, full enrollment, full-time, I mean. We have 30 absolutely fantastic seniors. I have 4 of them with me tonight, and we have 30 wonderful juniors over there. And the kids are the superstars, really, of the program and of the show, so they're going to get us started. All right, ready? You guys are going to come up.
Hi, my name is Alex Hoffman. I'm a senior who was originally enrolled in Lafayette, and of course I've been in the ECP program for the past 2 years. There we go. So yeah, I've been playing varsity sports the previous 2 years while I was in ECP, basketball and volleyball. So I've been doing that full time as well as ECP. I was accepted this winter into Missouri S&T. I'm going to be studying physics there, and going S&T, working on physics, and yeah, that's about it for now, I guess.
Yes, I am Anaya Elliott. I am currently a senior at Eureka High School in the early college program at St. Louis Community College Wildwood, and I also go to Forest Park sometime. I'm currently, not currently involved at Eureka clubs, but I was in a lot of clubs when I was at Eureka, and I am currently at a lot of clubs at St. Louis Community College. I will be going to Mississippi State next fall. Well, no, this fall, sorry. I will be studying, my major will be biochemistry with an emphasis in pre-pharmacy.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I was an early graduate of the program, so I went the fall, spring, summer, and then the last semester was last fall, so I graduated in December, and I'm actually at Webster University right now, So I will be finished with my bachelor's degree by next summer.
Say that again. We heard you. We just want you to say it again. You will be.
Finished with my bachelor's degree by 19 next summer.
And how old are you?
Almost 18 right now.
Yeah.
It's a
We're very
Webster
proud of you.
Hello, my name's Lauren. I'm a senior in the ECP program, and my home high school is Eureka. I'm involved in the science club at the community college. I love science, so I think I'm going to major in neurobiology, and I don't know where I'm going to go yet. I'm still waiting to hear back where I got accepted this spring. So, yeah, I love the early college partnership. It's been a great experience and many opportunities to get involved in different things. So, yeah.
So this is a new program, and this is our first group of seniors. Sort of worried about. Thank you. One of the things we were sort of worried about was what the next level was going to look like, what the next step was going to look like, and how this would affect how many credits their next institution would take, and because they're earning 60 college credits as part of their associate's degree, but if the next level doesn't take those credits, we were a little nervous about that. We're getting great news, and if you don't mind, just talking about how many credits your schools are going to accept out of those 60. Alex?
So luckily that since S&T is completely within Missouri school system, I'm getting all 72 credits I have from AP classes and my college credits because I've done over 15 because my schedules allow me to. So I'm getting, I believe, about 72 credits transferring to my 4-year.
So think about the savings as a parent. I have 3 kids, and that would be fantastic. But time and energy and all that also. Anaya?
Mississippi State is willing to take all 60. I have talked to a lot of colleges about if they're going to take the credits. That's been a big thing on me picking colleges. Some are saying like 15, some are saying we'll take all of them, but some won't transfer, so it just depends. You just have to ask the colleges.
Lauren, I know you're still deciding on what school, but
I've learned that public schools are more likely to take the most credits. Private schools are a little more picky. And also I've heard, like, depending on what your major is, the classes that you are required to take for your major probably won't transfer over for your major. They might go in as an elective credits.
Webster took all 60, so that was why I chose them, essentially.
sure. So just some more basic background information. We use a holistic selection process, and we look at a lot of parameters: attendance, GPA, maturity, responsibility. The students are fantastic, but there's no bell system there. It's a pretty flexible schedule. They have to do it on their own, and they have to be self-motivated, and luckily they're fantastic at that. I had this question delivered to me today. Have any students left the program? Like I said, we have 30 juniors and 30 seniors, and next year we'll bring 30 new students as these 30 seniors leave. So we'll always have 60 students over there. And we've had 2 in the last 2 years leave. 1 moved to California. Not a lot we can do about that. And 1 went her junior year to the ECP program, received 31 college credits, and decided for her senior year to go back to her home high school. Nothing lost, no damage. In fact, she still has those 31 credits on a transcript at St. Louis Community College, and she'll graduate from Eureka High School, having spent that year at Eureka High School. I did want to mention, the student said, well, I just want to be with my friends, but mom said it was for a boyfriend, but that's none of my business. So there you go. I did have a question about staffing over there. We don't technically have Rockwood staff over there. I'm over there as much as I can, but we don't have any additional Rockwood staff over there. And again, the students are the best part of the program, and they're a blast to be around. One more question was on student feedback. Most of the feedback that I get is qualitative, in that we're constantly talking about what they need and how we can improve the program, and what we should do for future generations of ECP students. And as these students graduate, we'll get more quantitative data with our Rockwood traditional follow-up procedures. So last thing before we open it up to whatever questions, what was the best thing about the ECP program? And I'm sure somebody's going to say winter break.
I'd definitely say it's the flexibility in the schedule, just because it is 100% college, so I have a full-on college schedule. Because I know this semester I've done 8-week courses, I've done online courses, I've done regular traditional courses, and my days are a bit all over the place, but it's been super open whenever I need it to. And I know this semester I have 2 days off a week after spring break, just because of the way I schedule my classes.
Not only the scheduling, but I would also say the way that classes are set up. Normally classes, you're in there for an hour and the teacher's just talking a lot. At the college, you can take online classes. They have hybrid classes, which is where you're in a classroom with a teacher, but the teacher isn't teaching, you're teaching yourself. And if you have questions, then you can ask the teacher. And that really helped me, because I'm not really I don't really like hearing people talk too much. So it's great for me. So I think that was the best for me, different classroom environment.
I would agree with all that, and also just a calmer environment with less drama and more mature students. Yeah. For me, it was definitely the flexibility and having someone like Todd who was always there and to make sure you were going in the right direction as far as graduating.
They have a 4-week winter break. I thought that would be number one on their favorite part. So we could talk for hours and hours and hours. I know you have a long agenda. We're happy to stay for as long as you need. But questions that they can answer, or we can answer.
I do have 2 quick questions. This is for all 4 of you. You can answer, or maybe one of you. What's the biggest thing you learned about yourself while in this program? That's number 1. And if someone would come up to you and say, should I join this program, what would you tell them?
So answer the first question, what I learned about myself. I can be a lot more organized than I thought I could, because I'd say high school class I just kind of coasted through, didn't do a lot of studying. It was pretty easy for me. First semester here, I managed to pull through okay, but it kind of hit me like a truck that I have to actually try a bit in class. And I actually learned mostly by myself, just to be able to push myself through, get very organized and on top of everything. And going through high school, I did not think I could do that. Would I recommend this program? Absolutely. But you do have to realize it's not just having fun, you're on break all day and you're just taking your own class. It is, you're taking college 2 years early. You have to understand exactly what that means if you want to take this program.
I learned about myself. When I was in high school, I didn't give myself enough credit on me understanding things. But as I transitioned to college, I understood that Rockwood very much prepares their students for the college environment and college education. I struggled when I was in high school, but when I got to college, it was like a breeze. So you guys very much prepare us. I would definitely recommend this. I would just make sure the students know to not slack off, since the teacher isn't really on your back as much. Just make sure you're being consistent.
I would say that I learned that every day there's something new to learn. Like, you never stop learning throughout your whole life. There's always another opportunity to learn something. And I would say just the people that are thinking about this program, you do have to be responsible. It is a lot of work, and your GPA is going to stick with you since it's for college. So, yeah.
I would say that I like to challenge myself. That's what I learned from it. And as far as if you're questioning whether or not to do the program, it's truly the best of both worlds. You get everything you possibly could want from high school, and you get everything you could possibly want from STLCC.
Great answers. Thank you very much.
So of course, I believe that we prepare students well for college, but if you can imagine the seamless transition from this program to college, I know they're going to be fantastic in their first year. We have 2 pre-med, 1 engineering, and 1 political science future major, and it's going to be a seamless transition. Other questions?
How many applicants are you seeing for this when you go through this process?
Sure. So this is the 3rd year of applicants. Second year, that we've had the program. So the first year we took the first 30 students that applied, and luckily these 4 were in that group of 30. The second year we had 70 applicants for 30 slots, and this year we had 68 applicants for 30 slots.
How is that spaced out among the 4 high schools?
Good question. So we have representation from all 4 high schools, and then and the way we do it really is out of those 30 slots. I don't want to get into really the weeds, but out of those 30 slots, every school gets 5, and then we sort of thumb wrestle over the last 10, and it's a positive discussion because everybody has fantastic students that they want in this program for the last 10.
Awesome.
You bringing? I missed this. Are you bringing some Parkway students in next year, or is that down the road further?
So, yes, but just to be clear, not into our spots. Parkway will have their own spots. We're just providing the management for those spots. So we're giving Parkway a piece of Todd. Is what we're doing. That's right. We're getting plenty in return.
So you were all going through graduation, our graduation in May? Okay, so we're all going to remember these 4 students because that's the best part of this job is to hand out diplomas at graduation. I can't tell you how, I hope you remember this day all of your lives because you're 17 and 18 and you're in front of this board and everyone behind you, and you're doing something that is exceedingly impressive. My son got his associate's degree, and you're getting your associate's degree. People get college degrees all the time, but the fact that you're doing it at your age, and listen to your responses. I mean, how you're motivated. It's very, very impressive. So make sure you pat yourselves on the back when you get home tonight. Good job.
Very innovative and groundbreaking, so thank you.
Anyone else? Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to thank Todd because he has been instrumental in this. And as Dr. Marty said earlier, it's so true. He and I are very alike in that we're visionaries. And Lisa can remember this. If Terry were here, he'd remember this. That I saw this concept in a meeting that I went to. I saw the idea presented. And I like Rockwood has to do this. And I came back and put a team together, and we went and talked to key people. Dan Edwards, one of our former principals at Lafayette, has a role in this in a program somewhere in the city of St. Louis. And I think we went to that meeting in February, and we introduced it that fall with students, and so it's fun for me to sit here and hear this, come to fruition. But Todd, you have been, the person, the rubber meets the road with your work and the work you do. And we heard, you all didn't get to hear this, but when we had the day where we invited Parkway over to learn from these kids, they absolutely love, appreciate, and adore Todd and the work that he's provided for them and their guidance. So we couldn't do it without you, so thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. See you in May at graduation.
Yes. Thank you all for being here.
All right. I need a motion to postpone approval of the 6 through 12 Family and Consumer Science FACS courses curriculum as presented until the April 11th, 2019 board meeting.
Moved.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Dr. Shelley Willott and Paige Carlson, welcome.
Uh-oh.
You gonna be able to follow that?
I can't. I mean, what
I
an act
know.
to follow. So impressive. They're not even nervous. I'm terrified, and I'm an adult.
When I think of myself at 17, I think I was not that. So,
It's amazing.
so we're really excited to bring this curriculum forward as well as the next one that Paige is going to talk about. This has been, 2 years in the making. We actually started writing, and then we went through a CTE review. We brought in a national reviewer. We got a lot of really good feedback about that and kind of went back to the drawing board and started again. And we took the teachers on several field trips so that they could be exposed to things and really went through a great rewrite. So Paige is going to present this one first and then the business after that.
So the first one is family consumer science.
Yeah, it should.
Okay, so with family consumer science, in years past, we would take the entire family consumer science curriculum together, all of our courses. So we have 15 high school courses. Now we take these in sections. So last year I came to the board with our fashion and foods courses, and this year we have another chunk, child development and personal finance, to take to the board. So this is our child development and personal finance, and then middle school family and consumer science. So this is just a peek of some of our curriculum. As I said, we have 15 courses that are family and consumer science for high school. So you can imagine the range that a teacher, a number of courses that they have. Sometimes there's 4 teachers at a high school, sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 5, depending on the school. So a teacher could teach a child development class. The next hour they could have personal finance. After that they could teach a fashions course. So the range is just very impressive of the expertise that these teachers have. So in order for us to write curriculum, to implement curriculum, the amount of work and training that teachers go through is just, it's incredible, and it's very inspiring, all that teachers do to create this curriculum for us. So it's very exciting to bring this to you, but so there was a number of things that we did in order to prepare ourselves to write this curriculum. As Shelley mentioned, we had the CTE evaluation that was a national advisor that came in and just looked at CTE as a whole. So it looked at our family consumer science, looked at our business, computer science, Project Lead the Way, a number of our CTE courses. And so that was our initial, what we set it gave us the groundwork of what our strengths were, what our areas that we could improve, and then we took the family consumer science area and even further and had a national, the Family Consumer Science Association, the president was able to work with our teachers and came to Rockwood to new standards were released, our curriculum standards for family consumer science, and she revealed the standards to the teachers and then explained what each standard meant, what it would mean across several different courses, and just really educated the family consumer science teachers on the standards. And she was a part of the team that wrote the standards. So hearing from her and listening to the training and everything with her was a great experience for the teachers. Some of our standards go through multiple different courses. So our fashions courses, which will have 3 different levels, we'll use some of the standards. So she helped us, dive really deep into the standards as to what that would look like in each of our courses. So we had Susan Turgeson that came for that. That was very helpful in trainings that she provided. But then also one of the most beneficial things that we had for teachers are teacher field trips. So because there are so many different areas that teachers teach in family consumer science and then also business as well, we took teachers to actual locations of places, the Federal Reserve, the St. Louis Federal Reserve, St. Louis University, working with both universities and then also businesses for family consumer science, which was just really beneficial for the teachers to see, what is out there, what are trends, what should we be teaching, and how we should be teaching it. So all of that occurred before we started writing the curriculum. So here are the courses that we wrote. So our middle school courses, so we have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and then Child Development 1, Child Development 2, and then Personal Finance. So and these are the courses that are on there and some of the pictures of the current. So all of these courses are just revisions with our new standards and new practices for the classes. So for middle school, we had traditional, it was pretty much split in half, sewing and cooking. And we wanted to really revamp that to where it was, really transitioning, aligning to our high school courses and expanding upon that. So with our national standards, we were able to add several different areas into our curriculum. So we have interior design, which is new, which is at the high school. And so it'll be a smaller section, but it will be, within the course, interior design, still the food course. Child development is in addition that we added relationships, career, and communication. So it will be the same 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, but with other areas and topics that will help support the high school, but at a smaller scale. And so it won't be food and sewing any longer. So we added a little bit of depth to that. High school, so it is child development 1 and 2, and then the personal finance. So we have the new standards, so they're all aligned to the new National Family Consumer Science Standards, and then also the 2018 Personal Finance Standards. So our standards are now very focused and intentional. And one thing with the CTE evaluation, all of our courses are, have a great emphasis on career, the career focus, where we did not have that as much as well, just intentional.
I should add in there too that the state standards are in there, but the state standards from Missouri have not been updated since 2007, 2009, something like that. So we felt we needed to go beyond that because those fields have changed so much since then that what is in the state standards is there, but it's a whole lot more.
So that is family and consumer science. And so, and with that, next year will be the rest of our family and consumer science courses. We have housing and interior design, and that will come later for the high school courses.
These are all semester courses?
So, yes.
How many fax teachers do you have?
So it depends.
All 4 schools together, total?
So about 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give or take. I mean, so it depends. It depends the year.
It's all full-time?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So it's a thriving and it's an amazing department. I should mention also that the child development, we have the preschools, which we're very fortunate to have that are connected to each of our child development classrooms. So students will have an observation window where they can see the students. The preschoolers don't see the students. They observe in the classroom. They create preschool assignments for the kids. They work with the teachers, the preschool teachers, and the therapist and the occupational therapist every day. So the connection and the relationship that they have is just very impressive. So students, real world, they're working with actual preschool students and having constant access to preschool.
No, you traditionally had some really strong educators in the fax department, and I think some of those are still there, and the other ones come in have really been well received also. That's great.
I had the opportunity in several of the child development classes, and I'm telling you, these students are so sharp.
They are.
They're just on the cutting edge of asking really provocative questions about child development. They've learned a lot from their teachers, which speaks well for the program and curriculum. So very well done.
All right, so the motion is to postpone approval of the 6 through 12 family consumer science courses curriculum until the next board meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. But you're not going anywhere,
Not
are
going
you?
anywhere. I'm right here.
You're here again.
Okay.
Motion to postpone approval of the 6 through 12 business courses curriculum as presented until the April 11th, 2019 board meeting.
Moved.
Motion is second. Now you're
So
good.
excited. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now 6 to 12 business. So some of the similar type things for business, so this one might be a little bit quicker. We, same CTE evaluation, and then we went from there. We just stemmed from the CTE evaluation. We've had a lot of connections with universities and then also the teacher field trips as well. So UMSL, we've had a lot of support post-secondary. UMSL, St. Louis Community College, especially with our entrepreneurship courses, have really just taken us under their wing and helped us with the courses and observations, and many of the professors working actually with our teachers. Personal finance, same, the Federal Reserve, new competencies for that as well. Junior achievement is a course that we use to influence our curriculum. And then we have teachers attending the I-Corps training, which is an innovation corps for entrepreneurship. And all of that occurred before we wrote our curriculum, so that we would know. And like Shelley mentioned before, it's about a 2-year process, just because it's changing so much that we want to make sure that the teachers have experience and learning and know the questions and the direction that we want our program to go. So this is for business, 6 through 12. So we have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade middle school business, personal finance, business essentials, and then entrepreneurship accelerator are the courses for that. So for middle school, the revision that we did for that, the courses weren't even aligned really with 6th grade didn't necessarily flow into 7th to 8th. So we were able to redesign this to where it really supports, it's vertically aligned as well as horizontally within the middle school courses as well. So we added, it supports marketing, business, entrepreneurship, and also finance. Again, we added the career focus and the entrepreneurship within the middle school to support our high school as well. For high school business, we were able to, in the years that we've been here, that we were really lacking an introduction business course. We had some of our upper level courses, but we never had like that launching spot for students. We created AMPed, but about 50% have the opportunity. If a student has already taken Algebra 1, they wouldn't be able to take that AMPed course. So having this business essential course is just an introduction to all of our courses and pathways for students. This entrepreneurship, in the past we had an entrepreneurship course that students weren't able to, as a team, as a class, they created an entrepreneurship project, but we wanted to have a pathway for students, and so this final course gives a pathway where they can have an entrepreneurship course where they either work as an individual or as a team. It's the same, we added career focus, so there's an alignment. Each of our courses are very aligned with careers, and then we have just clearly defined standards and units now.
You still fine art credits? I mean, practical art credits?
Yes.
How many do we need to graduate?
So one credit.
So they would take one, get a practical art, and anything else over and above it, it would be an elective.
Correct. Right.
I really like how you vertically have aligned this, because I don't believe it ever was that way when I was there.
It was not. And so now, the middle school just supports the high school with still having, students are able to explore in middle school, but it supports and aligns. And now our high school teachers can work with the middle school teachers, and it's been really helpful.
The idea too at that middle school was to get kids to explore lots of things, and we weren't doing that before, so now they get to explore all of it before they get into a pathway in high school if they choose.
The entrepreneurial class, was that an old class? I mean, was it named something else before? It's brand new?
This is a brand new course.
How's it designed, or what's it going to look like?
So really, and we've been working with a number of universities in different areas and entrepreneurs that have helped us with this. But, what we gather is many of the students may go on not to actually be an entrepreneur, but the growth mindset and the collaboration and all of the skills, the 21st century skills that they achieve from this is what really, whatever field that they go into will really stay with them. So really working on that growth mindset, focusing on those type skills, but it'll be like an incubator type where they have an idea and just going through the different process.
Students get college credit? Like, do you have 1-8 through SLU and?
Not at this time, but that is something that SOL is exploring in different universities that we will eventually hope for.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
The middle school class names the same?
The names are different.
Yeah, I thought so.
So we did rename the courses.
Okay.
But they're the same course codes.
Similar.
They're just different names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just add, one of the things that I do in my spare time is I'm a merit badge counselor for the Boy Scouts, and one of them that I can sign off on is personal management, which used to be called personal finance. I get them for about an hour and a half. It's really good to see that the school's focusing more on those things because it really is needed. So, good to see.
So the motion is to postpone the approval of the 6th through 12th business course curriculum. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you. All right, next, I need a motion to postpone approval of the drafting courses curriculum as presented until the April 11th, 2019 board meeting.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second. Hello, Dr. Shelley Willet's still here, and Bob Deneau.
You are not hearing Bob talk about innovation rooms tonight.
Okay.
He is going to talk about the drafting curriculum. And I will say that we brought this forth to Rockwood Learning Council, and they listened to what we bring forward, but Bob was the only person to get a positive comment on the discussion boards in Canvas. So we were pretty excited about that.
Absolutely. So good evening. Going to briefly just kind of talk about our drafting courses. So I would really like to start out with the teachers who really made this happen. So we had one representative from each of our high schools. You know, they have years of experience. Some of them actually have industry experience when it comes to drafting and architecture. So from a person who does not have that as their background, just to have the wealth of knowledge that they had was just truly amazing. So I have to give them all of the credit. The three courses we're going to look at, they are all semester courses. They are for a half CTE credit, and you are going to see that there is some overlap when we talk about some of our Project Lead the Way engineering. And so that is one of the big discussions that we had was, are we really offering courses that are the same, or are they different enough? Do they appeal to a different audience of students? And that was also something, as this was part of the CTE program evaluation, that we got feedback from that, and one of the biggest things we got was from some of the industry partners and some of our higher ed partners. And so we really do feel like these courses do differentiate themselves from some of the Project Lead the Way courses. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go on. So the three courses we're going to look at are Drafting 1, Drafting 2, and Architectural Drafting. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight the changes that we've made, because these are all existing courses that we already have in Rockwood. So the first is actually going to talk about an elimination. We had a class called Architectural Drafting 2. In the 4 years I've been in this position, I think it has carried exactly one time at one school. Very few students signed up for this course. And so when we looked at it, we had a big discussion about this was the course that probably overlapped the most with a Project Lead the Way course we already offered. We offer a civil engineering and architecture course through Project Lead the Way. It's a year-long course. And so we really felt like if students really wanted to go down the route of architecture, that we can direct them into that course, even from the course sequence that we're going to talk about tonight. So we really felt like that course really wasn't carrying anywhere. There wasn't a lot of student interest in it, so we went ahead and dropped it. So we went from 4 drafting courses down to 3. So when we looked at our very first course, Drafting 1, so we have students who know that they want to go in engineering, and most of those students go down the Project Lead the Way route. Drafting 1 is most similar to our introductory Project Lead the Way course, Introduction to Engineering Design, but there are some major differences. They actually take a look at different software. The Project Lead the Way course gets into a lot more of Microsoft Excel and mathematical analysis. Drafting 1 really does get into the drawing portion of drafting. And before, this was actually heavily involved with CAD drawing or CAD software. When we spoke to some of our industry professionals and our higher ed folks, they really suggested to us that we need more students to actually have the hand drafting skills. We had some students who came back and said in their first year of university and going to architecture school that they never touched a CAD program, and they really felt like they needed some more hand drafting techniques. So in a way, we've kind of gone old school on this a little bit, but we really felt like that was something that was needed. So Drafting 1, we still will do some AutoCAD work, or Autodesk Inventor, either one of those two software platforms, but we're going to really introduce all the concepts through hand drafting and using hand drafting tools. So when you get to drafting 2, that is where it's going to be a primarily AutoCAD-based, so we can get into all of the more advanced features. And again, these are semester courses, so a student who, after drafting 1, they could elect to go to drafting 2, or they could really decide that maybe I now want to enter that more of the Project Lead the Way engineering pathway, and so they could then jump into one of our intro-level courses for Project Lead the Way. And then architectural drafting is probably the one I'm most excited about. It is the one we received the positive comment about. So we really took a project-based learning approach to this course. Basically, the gist of this course is you are going to design a home from the ground up, from the site plan all the way through all different plans, the elevation plans, to the point where the student will actually design and draw out a complete home. Showed this to my wife. She's like, "Can I take that class?" Like, yeah, she always wants to build a house. So I'm just like, I don't know. But I said it's pretty amazing. When the teachers really came up with this idea, you could see like it just kind of snowballed. We talked about it, and then all of a sudden, all of their knowledge came out. And I think I'm really excited about this course. I really think it's, of the courses we've looked at, it probably got a little bit more of an update just from the way we're approaching it. So as we look for ways to be more project-based, to really tie it into real-world experiences, we really think this course is going to do that. And a student who really enjoys this course, who wants to maybe pursue something further, then we would advise them go into the Project Lead the Way Civil Engineering and Architecture course, because then they can really take a deeper dive and look at some other software platforms. And as we said, there's multiple pathways that this can go. You could dabble here and that could be it, or you could maybe this is going to lead you into some more of our engineering courses. So, with that being said, are there any questions?
It used to be that teachers of drafting had to have just an industrial arts or industrial tech degree. Is that still the same?
It is very much the same. Many our teachers who teach this course also teach all of our Project Lead the Way courses. Because normally you might see a teacher might have a couple sections of drafting, and then they're teaching some of our other engineering courses. So it is the same certification.
Talking about drafting 1 and drafting 2, I think it was. Some kids could go and start drafting 1 and go straight into drafting 2.
Yes.
Now, could they end up and start the second semester on a drafting 1 and then go into drafting 2 next semester?
Absolutely. I mean, they can take it. I mean, they could take one
So
year.
you do
one the
have
next.
drafting 1 both semesters
Yes.
and drafting 2?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And really, it's truly based. I mean, all that kind of scheduling stuff truly is based on student interest. And if there's lots of interest in that course, they will. They'll run it. However they can fit it into their schedules. That really is more of a building decision, not necessarily a curriculum one. But I have teachers who teach that same course both semesters.
That conflict with South County Tech?
I wouldn't necessarily say. I say in a way, if a student really wants to go that route, it could lead them to that, because it is introducing them to maybe some professional fields that they hadn't thought of before. So a student could take that as a freshman and sophomore and could decide to go the South Tech route. Some of the things we're doing, we just want to offer students opportunities, and they can really make the best choice for them, and families can make the best choice of where they want to go and what they want to pursue.
Some other areas of CTE that they could get into as a result of the drafting, or this, the drafting?
I think mostly it's going to tie into the engineering pathway, because that is really where, that is where the overlap is. We do some of the same skills that are done in drafting 1 and drafting 2 are also covered in the Intro to Engineering Design, but those courses tend to be a little bit more intense and offer a little bit more, and they're year-long courses, and they have an EOC tied to them with college credit tied to that. So there is definitely a difference between the two.
Okay.
On the going back to the being able to hand draw drafting, there's some gentlemen in the back of the room that probably wouldn't argue with the fact that you never ever get out on a job site and fail to turn a drawing over and make a sketch. The essential skills, and if you understand that and the lettering and everything that goes with it, you can translate it to computer drafting easily, but walk before you run.
FYI, drafting was my favorite class in high school.
Was the comment from Rockwood Learning Council that they wanted to take the class. We heard multiple
Yeah.
teachers say that.
Yeah, I loved it.
It's interesting, Dr. Kinner, you and I can both remember coming from Lafayette and going to Marquette, a different mindset in drafting way back then. We had in the Lafayette building, and then went to Marquette, and it was all a CAD mindset, and that was state of the art and the coolest thing ever. and obviously the cart was a little before the horse. You know, in that, I don't, that wasn't specific to Rockwood, that was the trend, but to Matt's point, I think that we realized in the profession that there's benefits to knowing how to crawl before you walk, or however you put that, Matt. That was
some interesting feedback about reliance on software when we talked to several industry professionals, and the fact that some students and not in my area, so I'm talking about measuring a room for graphic design or interior design, and the student had been through an entire university and never hand measured a room before. When they got to the job, they had to do that. So we've heard some examples of, technology makes it easier for us, but sometimes we still have to do some of the handwork to really nail down the concepts.
Some people in our audience out there looking.
Good point.
Making that foundation.
See the wheels turning. And
All right, very good. Anything else on that? All right, so the motion is to postpone approval of the drafting course curriculum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you, Bob. All right, next I need a motion to postpone approval of the PE electives courses curriculum as presented until the April 11th, 2019 board meeting.
Second.
Motion and second. Shelley, hello.
So-
And Dr. Patrick Fine.
Yeah.
Hello.
This is his first time presenting at the board. So we were really excited about this particular curriculum. I think it's important to point out that the thing that I find most interesting is that Pat is very tuned in at the national level with PE. And I can say that every conversation we had throughout this whole process, it always went back to the fitness of the kids. And that if the conversation would stray from that, Pat would bring them back to it's about the fitness of the kids. So the decisions that they made were based on that. And we know that kids don't have as much fitness as they have in the past. And so they really looked at that heavily as they made these changes in this curriculum.
Well, good evening. I am excited to be here to bring the high school PE electives curriculum to you. I feel really fortunate that I had the opportunity over this past year to spend time with the high school PE teachers, because I hadn't been able to spend a whole lot of time with them in the past. And it was really energizing to be in the room with them. When you pull teachers together and they have the opportunity to be able to share and learn from each other, it truly is inspiring. And we have some amazing teachers at every one of our high schools. Our students are really lucky to be able to have them in their lives. I'm going to go through some of the process that we went through in the writing of the curriculum, and even before that. As a big group, what we wanted to do, there's 32 PE teachers, and there's 20 of those teachers that were involved with the writing process. So as a big group, we got together and we looked over the research that was out there, the trends, dealing with fitness and exercise and physical education. We looked at all the big districts in the state of Missouri and their curriculum related to PE and what electives they have, that we might be able to take some of their great ideas and adopt some of those, whether we adopt them as a course or take some of those ideas and embed them in some of our current courses. Those were thoughts that were going through our mind. We also did a survey, and there was 1,000 students that participated in that, so we have really some good data that we were able to sit down and have some meaningful conversations about how do the students look at what we do and how might we be able to improve in our area to be able to satisfy some of those students. We also had input from our executive director at our state organization, PE organization, and luckily the PE director at DESE is a former Rockwood employee and a PE coordinator here. So we have very close ties with her, and we are able to get a lot of input from her also. We wanted to make sure that we had input from every single building in the writing of the curriculum also. And our graduation requirement for physical education is 1 credit. The requirement for health is a 0.5 credit. We have a required course, our personal fitness and wellness, which is our PFW course, and that's a 0.5 credit, and most students take that their freshman year. The additional 0.5 would be the electives that I'm bringing to you tonight. All the boxes up there represent the courses that we were writing. On the left-hand side, there are grade boxes. Those are the courses that after a student takes PFW, they have the option of taking one of these 6 courses for their additional 0.5 credit. And they have both the aquatics classes, a beginning, a basic aquatic, and advanced aquatic, to where a student has the opportunity to get a lifeguarding certification. And from what the teachers tell me, that every single student that goes through there that gets that certification ends up with a job after that course. We also have beginning and advanced weight training. The beginning course will teach the basic skills of how to lift, the safety related to that, and then the advanced weight training goes into more advanced weight training, developing specific personal plans for them to improve their strength. We have total body wellness, which is the new name for the old aerobic training and conditioning. That course is a bunch of different activities. All the grade boxes allow students to have moderate to vigorous activity, which is kind of why they're in a separate category and why that is the next step after PFW. The ones over in the white boxes, they are more low to moderate. They're still great courses, but it's not the intensity of exercise that we wanted for our students for a graduation requirement. The other course down at the bottom is sports and fitness. That's a new course that was really steered by the students. The students at some of our high schools wanted the next step to our PFW. But we didn't want just like a PFW2. We wanted a combination of a fitness type class, so 50% of it will be fitness, and the other 50% will be kind of a smorgasbord of all of our other electives classes to give students an idea of what the other choices are at school. Then we have our first aid course, where at the end of that course they get a certification in first aid and CPR. The course right underneath that is a brand new course, and it was initiated and really by a teacher at every one of our high schools who was truly passionate about pulling together gen ed students with special education students and pairing them together with a class. There's a couple of our high schools that had kind of a pilot program with that already, and they're having great success with it. They're finding that it's creating more friendships within the school. So they are truly passionate about moving forward with that class at all of our high schools. It's a course that Parkway has been doing for the last couple of years, so we got input from them also. The last 2 courses are the lifetime activities and outdoor adventures and our team sports, which the outdoor adventure part of it, that is something that we want to have the opportunity to bring more outdoor education in. So there's a lot of different opportunities and choices that those might vary depending on the availability of the school, the grounds at the school, everything that's around there, because we want it to be a safe environment for the kids also. The committee wanted to make sure that in writing the curriculum that we used a similar language and structure. They wanted the consistency throughout all the documents, which we didn't necessarily have that with all the documents before. But they wanted to focus on the essential outcomes. And one thing that they really wanted to bring in was more life skills. It was kind of embedded with what we had done before, but we really wanted to highlight that within our document, bringing in the growth mindset, opportunity for goal setting, and what we believe is a life skill is a habit of exercise and the habit of healthy eating too. There's many other life skills that I didn't highlight in there, but those are embedded in our document also. Also, one area that we wanted to make sure that we were bringing forth and highlighting a little bit more is the skill development. Over the last 15 or 20 years, in many physical education programs throughout the country, they have been more fitness oriented, and they have swung so far in that direction that they have missed the skill development. So there's many of our middle school and high school students that have been missing some of that. So we're not going to go skill focused, but we're just going to make sure that we're not skipping that portion of it also. And then we want to make sure that we're taking into consideration the student voice and choice with everything that we're doing. This was a national survey that was done that I thought it was very interesting. We actually spent some committee time looking at this and discussing it to see what type of implication it might have with what we do in the class. And the question was, what makes PE not fun? What makes PE fun? And if you read through some of those answers, these are ranked from 1 through 10, that there are similar responses on each side. So there's one student that finds competition to be the thing that makes it not fun for them, while the other person, that is one of the things that makes it fun. So there's discussions that we had as a group. So how do you deal with those two students that are in your classroom? So how might that change what your decisions are with what you're going to do, or how you're going to set up that lesson for the day? So it was very interesting to have those types of conversations and have the opportunity to bring them together. All of our curriculum is aligned with our state and national standards. Since the last time we wrote our curriculum, the Missouri standards are now directly aligned with the national standards. It's nice for the first time we have our national organizations, our state organizations, and DESE that have people that are truly passionate and all working together, which is helping us in Rockwood with our curriculum also. The next couple slides, I won't spend a lot of time on it. I just want to include some of the research that we looked at as a group, and most of the research focuses on how important exercise is and how important fitness is, and what we do while students are here in Rockwood not only has an impact while they're here in Rockwood on their health and their fitness and on their academics, because there is a correlation between fitness and academics. It will also have a lasting impact on them later in life. There was one study that I read that it said if they are fit when they are young, that even if they decide not to be active when they are adults, the benefit of them being fit when they were younger will have a lasting impact. Well, of course, it's better if you're active as an adult, but even if you weren't, it's good. So that's why we really focus so much on making sure that we're taking every opportunity, and we are so blessed here in Rockwood that we, at the earlier ages, we have everyday PE in elementary school, because I know a lot of districts do not. And I think if you walked into our classes versus walking into another district that does not have that, you would visually notice the difference of the fitness of the kids and the excitement of movement that they have. This page that I think is interesting, it said fit students become fit adults. That's actually a research study that it shows that. The bottom one I think was very interesting. This was a recent study. Only 3% of girls and 7% of boys meet the recommended sleep, exercise, and screen time recommendations. So this is a battle that's over the last couple of years, these things seem to not be getting better, they're getting worse, and things that we have to take in consideration with what we're doing in the classroom also. I wanted to throw in this slide too, because it goes along with fitness, it goes along with healthy weight and obesity during the school age years. I thought this was a powerful slide. It is the probability of obesity later in life on where they are during the time that they're here in Rockwood. So down at the bottom, there are 4 different groups. There's a healthy weight group, there's an overweight group, there's a moderately obese group, and there's a severely obese group. So our students that are at a healthy weight, they still have a 38% chance of being obese later in life. But if they're just overweight, that number almost doubles and goes to 75%. And then moderately obese, it goes even higher and even higher than that with severely obese. So it is so, so important that we keep our kids active, that we let them understand the importance of staying fit, how to do that. And our main goal with all of our courses is to make sure that our students are physically literate. And that is giving them the physical competence, the knowledge, the motivation, and the confidence to be active and healthy for life. I wanted to finish with one thing if I could. There was the survey that we did, we had responses from students, and I wanted to read a couple of them just so you could hear from them of why they feel the PE electives are important. One of them said, "It's a break from the stress of school. Fun to be with friends and be active. It's a good stress reliever. It's a relaxing hour where I don't need to worry about tests and grades. Being with friends and leaving feeling good about myself and staying fit. Getting my frustrations out in a healthy way by exercising even when my schedule is packed. Gives you the time to forget about schoolwork during the day. It gives me a break from my hard AP classes and it re-energizes me. It's a class that allows people to not feel stressed. Taking PE is like releasing stress from any problem I have. When you're in PE, it's all about what's going on there and not the score that you got on your biology test. The coaches are awesome. The good attitudes the teachers have. The teachers are nice and take suggestions from students on what to do." The words of kids. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
And I wanted to ask you to just clarify, you made that point, kind of came back with the kids at the end about being active and such, but so currently when it comes to elementary PE, state only requires what?
It is 150.
Which most people
the
accomplish in
state-
like 3 days a week.
It's a couple days a week.
Yeah.
And then you can count recess in there too, as
Right.
far as the state minutes.
But we have PE
Every single day for 30 minutes.
every single day for 30 minutes. And the reason I bring that up, it's a really good conversation because we get a lot of comments from parents when we're talking about the need for kids to be active. And a lot of times we're talking about recess, and you're taking recess away from kids. And what districts like Rockwood have done have made sure that the kids remain active, but in a curricular sense, in a way, so that activity is still there through our PE more than what the state requires us to do. And a lot of people don't know that.
Yes, Rockwood's one of the few people around there following the CDC recommendations and our national organization's recommendations.
Dr. Fine, I shamelessly ask, you have a lot of research in there, and you've dug into the research a lot, and I know you had your doctorate
I
degree.
got that one from one of my old instructors.
I was trying to think, where did you get all that information? Was there a certain university you got that from?
Pardon me?
Was there a certain university you went to that got that? Helped you do it?
I believe it was Maryville.
Oh, okay, thanks. I said it was shamelessly, huh? All I can say. Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome.
This is good. I mean, I'm a big proponent of kids exercising and getting off their whatever they play on and everything else. So, and the diet, not the diet, but the food part of it too, the youth obesity and things. So this is very good. Anything else?
Voices that you shared with us from the students makes us connect this to the mental health aspect we so often talk about the wellness part there.
The way for them to be able to relieve that stress
Right.
and anxiety.
I looked at several of your modules, and they're so well written. Students mentally, physically,
Thank you.
collaboratively. Well done on the.
Thank you. The teachers worked really hard on that.
Anything else? All right, so the motion is to postpone approval of the PE electives courses curriculum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Shelley, you get to leave too, huh? All right.
Thank you.
Next, motion to postpone approval of revisions to policy 1305, non-discrimination, policy 2130, harassment, policy 4110, equal opportunity, and policy 4810, sexual harassment until the April 11th, 2019 Board of Education meeting. Motion and a second. Dr. Knost?
Real quick, I think it's, we've done a lot of things tonight with curriculum in here where we make a motion to postpone, and I think it's often good to explain what that means. That's just because of the way policy's set up on approving a number of things that can't all be done in one night, so there's plenty of time to research, discuss, think about. So just to be clear on that, because we said that for the last number of motions, and here it is again. This is pretty easy. I asked personally for the board to grant a PIN to look at these policies. And the way this came about is we've had some inconsistencies. We've made some changes in regards to these policies when it comes to students, and we've had some language about sexual orientation, gender identity, and it was not really consistent in our policies. Legally, I think we all felt that it was covered in there, and our legal opinion suggested that those were all covered, but that's changed a little bit. And what really changed for me, I like to pride myself on being a champion for kids, but I also like to pride myself on being a champion for our staff. And you know, even though we know that we are not of a mind to discriminate against anyone in any way, shape, or form, when you have staff come to you in a very heartfelt way and say that they're just uncomfortable that our policies aren't consistent in how they're worded, then I feel that that requires some look at that. So it took another legal review, and in this legal review, it was actually suggested back to me that it made sense to align with this language because it was in some places, it wasn't in all places, and that's just the simple part of what this does with all four of these policies. Not a lot of real in-depth, you don't see a lot of red line, you just see the small language change in each one. And that's the gist of it.
Any discussion or questions? All right, so the motion is to postpone the approval of these revisions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're towards the end. I bet you gentlemen are thinking, why did I come to this meeting? No, I'm just kidding. I told my wife I'd be home at 8. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so Chris Friend. First, we need a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts over $150,000 from ICS Construction Services Limited for construction of an innovative classroom at Baldwin Elementary.
Is correct.
Motion a second. So let's start with that one, please.
All right. A lot of good stuff tonight, but now we're going to get into the really exciting stuff. Bob Deneau did not get a chance to talk about innovative rooms, but I will. So the first item on the agenda for approval is actually the last innovative classroom at our elementary schools that we're going to complete construction on this summer. Baldwin Elementary, as we've discussed before, there was some challenges on finding a location in that building, with it being an older facility and the way that it's set up. It took a little while to find a good space to construct this innovative room. It's a little different. You'll notice the cost is a little higher than some of the other rooms we've done. There is a difference in this construction. A lot of the other rooms in our buildings, we just transitioned a classroom into a STEM area. We're actually taking a larger space and constructing a new area at Baldwin Elementary, so that's why you'll notice that the cost is a little higher, but it is exactly where we wanted to be.
To the building, it's within the existing building.
That is correct. There's a large room in the middle of the building that they refer to as a multi-purpose room. That's the room that we'll be converting into the innovative space.
A long time ago it was a cafeteria. I actually taught in that room.
And actually that's a great point, Dr. Knos, because the fact that it was a cafeteria does have a little bit to do with the high cost. There's some things we want to address as far as the slab. There's still some floor drains that were covered up years ago, but they never did level the slab. Those are all things that we're going to take care of as part of this project.
Other questions? All right, so that motion is to approve the bond issue purchases for ICS Construction Services. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Next, I need a motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts over $150,000 from K&S Associates for the building construction phase of the EHS STEM Lab Addition. A motion and second.
Right. So this is a project that we've been discussing for quite a while. We are lucky to have members of the design team and the construction team with us this evening. We actually probably started design on this project well over a year ago. We've worked very feverishly and very close to the building staff to come up with good solutions on what this space, intended use is and what it will be. One thing I do want to point out is it is, advertised as a STEM edition, which it is, but the other thing it does, and I think it's important to communicate this to community members and staff, is that it does, to put this in perspective, this building is almost as large square footage-wise as the elementary school that we're constructing right now. So we have a lot of people ask us, what are we doing at the high school level? If you know you have growth in the Eureka area and you're building a school, what are you doing at the high school? Well, what this does, this actually opens up about 93,000 square feet of space within the building that we will renovate into general ed classrooms and then convert the STEM activities over to the new addition. So it's a multi-phase project. It's a very involved project. And like I said, we've been in the design phase for probably a year and a half. So this is pretty exciting.
This is just the building. This isn't that concrete out front and all that other stuff, is it?
That is correct. So we basically, we discussed this moving in because it's a rather large project. It's close to a $30 million plus project, and we divided it into 3 phases. The first phase that you're seeing right now, the activity at the high school is basically we enclosed that creek area in the front of the building because we had to open up space so we could, open up the building footprint and construct the building that we are now asking for approval on. There's a building phase, which is the K&S Associates phase, and then there'll be another phase. The next agenda item is actually the second phase of the site work package. So we actually divided this up into three packages, and I think we did see a monetary benefit by doing that.
Can I see the other bids? Can you scroll down a little bit, brother? Okay, thank you.
Since you did that, I'm gonna make a public compliment to our architects. Chris and I talk about this often, as well as Paul. But when you see bids that tight, that's a sign of really good specs. And you see it, but you don't see it always. And you never know what's going to happen on bid opening day. And when it comes in and you look at that, you just feel like job well done. So Dickinson Hussman, thank you for just doing a great job.
I do want to take a quick second, if you'll bear with me, just to introduce a few people. So Dickinson Hussman Architects, they're the architect on the new elementary school. They're also the architect on this project. Don Hussman and Dwight Dickinson are with us tonight. And then we actually have 3 members of the construction team that have stuck it out with us tonight to witness this. So we have Dennis Dyes, Tom Kraska, and Josh Quick. They're with ICS, sorry guys. K&S Associates, yes. This will be the first project that we've completed with them. I will tell you they are very well respected in the area as a general contractor, and they do a ton of K through 12 work. So we're excited. We've met several times already, coordinating how we're going to kick this thing off, and we're actually going to start spring break. I believe starts on March 15th, and we'll actually start renovation inside the building at that point. So we're excited to get moving.
Before we move on, the only other thing I want to add, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I'm always excited about construction projects. It's just the fact that a community comes together and approves a school district being progressive, and I love all the ones that we've done together here in Rockwood. But I got to tell you, just please invite me back when you have a ribbon cutting for that building, because it is. It's gorgeous. First, I'm looking over there. I'm not looking at Dr. Kinder. I'm looking at he's gorgeous too. But the picture of the rendering is just it entirely. Well, I like it for many reasons. It just entirely changes the face of Eureka High School, and it's just a great looking addition, and what it's going to have on the inside and what it's going to allow for our kids is just phenomenal. So it's exciting.
It's going to be the capacity student-wise in that school now with that addition. Do you have any idea?
Well over 2,000.
Okay. Now, the other thing is you better check your glasses, Eric. That's all I got to say.
I shall.
And I do real quickly to add about the capacity of the building once we're done with this. To put it in perspective, this will make Eureka High School about 100,000 square feet larger than any of our other high schools. Sorry.
Why would you say that? Right. When would you do the turnaround on the other classrooms to renovate them?
So that's actually the last phase. So that'll actually happen summer of 2020.
20, for
Yes.
2020, 21.
correct. And we're hoping to have the entire project wrapped up by the beginning of the school year, fall 2020.
We'll meet our population need.
Yes.
We'll also won't that wrap up our 17 bond issue? Oh, no, Marquette.
No, we still have a phase or two
Yeah,
at
that's
Marquette.
right.
And we have the multipurpose room at Wildwood that will be starting here very shortly.
Okay, we good? All right, so the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases for K&S Associates. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Next, any motion to approve the bond issue purchases and related contracts over $150,000 from Kolb Grading LLC for the Phase 2 site work on the Eureka High School STEM Addition project.
Yep.
Motion and a second.
So as I mentioned earlier, we broke this project into 3 packages. This is the second phase site work package. Kolb Grading is actually the contractor that's engaged on site now. So this was a pretty seamless transition and a good opportunity for them to be very competitive in the bid process for the second phase. So things worked out very well. We're excited to have them on board. They've done a great job up to this point, and as you know, they've been battling through some nasty weather. This has been an awful winter. One of the things that I will say is for a site work contractor, on the nastiest of days, you drive by that place and they're out
Working.
They're working.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. So we're excited to have them on board for the second phase, and we've already begun coordination with K&S and Kolb, and I think we feel really good about the team we have put together for this project.
What is the site work exactly you're talking about? I can see the buildings. Is all that stuff getting ready for the building plus out?
Yeah, so right now, what you're seeing, the first phase, we closed in the creek, basically opened up the building footprint. So now, if you drive by there, you'll see a number of dump trucks leaving the site. They're actually digging the footing for that building right now. And then the other part of that site work package that will happen primarily this coming summer is the front parking lot gets entirely renovated. The drive lanes, the north and south drive lanes, and the drive lane in front of the school all gets completely reconstructed. And we will have that done by the beginning of next school year.
Does part of that $2+ million include after the building's built, get finished up?
That is correct.
Okay, so this is composite for everything.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So right now, back on the north side, when you're constructing a building of this size, you have to have a place for parking. You have to have a place for construction laydown for materials. So that will act as that area. Once the building is constructed, that summer 2020, you'll see the site work kind of wrap around the building towards the tennis courts and connect all that back together.
Where do all the construction people park while you're building this thing?
And that's been a significant challenge. Getting through this year, they'll be parking in the construction area and some dedicated areas that we've come up with. Once we get into heavy construction, if anyone's driven past the elementary school recently, you see the line of cars out in front of that building. That's the number of subcontractors, contractors that you'll have in a building like this. We've worked with the school, and actually after this school year, once we do the renovation to the parking lot out front, it opens up a lot of new spaces. The parking lot that leads back to the tennis courts, that will actually transition to construction parking.
Because say you couldn't park on 109, I don't think they'd like it.
I don't think they'd like that.
Okay. Mike probably would, Wigan, but I don't think anybody else would.
Else?
I will say that our friends at K&S, I'm anxious to get you going because I'm tired of talking to neighbors that just think we're just out there pushing dirt around. They don't, it's hard to drive by and see progress when it's just mounds of dirt that kind of shift around. So it'll be exciting to see you guys mobilize and get some things rolling.
Good. All right, the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases for Kolb Grading LLC. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes. You're good, right?
I think this is done.
All right. Next motion is to approve the bond issue purchase and related contracts over $150,000 from Converge One, Inc. for E-rate eligible network equipment, including support, maintenance, and warranty on equipment as applicable. Motion and a second. Hello.
Hi. So we have available plans for E-rate funding, and so we are proportioning it out. There's so much you get per school based on student population. This is the last year that has already been approved and set. So we bid out our Cisco infrastructure, which includes hardware, cabling, support, maintenance for our infrastructure, and we'll go in and spend this money in schools. Equitably, we divvy up our E-rate based on per student population. So we are funding all that we can. We will spend this much money and then turn around and be reimbursed with E-rate funds for 40% of it. But we need approval to spend this. We need this approval in anticipation that our E-rate could be approved as early as April, but you don't know. It could be 6 more months, but we need this in place to know we have these funds available to spend through the next year in order to keep our network infrastructure up and not leave any E-rate money on the table.
Questions? Makes
All
sense?
typical,
Huh?
all typical.
All typical.
Yeah.
All typical.
Okay.
Right?
So the motion is to approve the bond issue purchases for Converge One Inc. for E-rate eligible network equipment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. Those of you who are still here, we're almost there. All right, proposed agenda for the April 11th, 2019 Board of Education meeting. Questions on any of that?
Looks really short. Can we add a lot more to that meeting?
Would you like to come and speak, ma'am?
Does that start, what time does that start?
5:30.
That is,
Close, yeah, 5:30.
don't we start with
Reorganization meeting.
reorg-
Yeah, the
I'm sorry.
reorg
I'm
meeting.
sorry, that's right.
reorganization at 5:30?
Right.
Right.
I won't be here.
Okay.
Am I the only one? Well, besides.
Matt?
Won't be here. Besides Matt.
All right, any questions, anything on that? Are we all good? All right, next, future agenda presentations and events to attend. So, March 8th through the 22nd is spring break. March 25th, 4:30 to 6:30, Dr. Miles will be here, and we are going to have a welcome reception for him. Kathy, it's already on the website, isn't it? Yep, it's on the website. It will be here. Yes, here's his picture, in case some of you don't know who he is. He watches all these, so he'll appreciate that. March 27th, 2019, 6:30, Pond Elementary President's Forum, Meet the Candidates. And March 28th, the next day, Holiday Inn, Six Flags, the Eureka Chamber of Commerce, Meet the Candidates, and get out and vote April 2nd. Anything else from anyone?
Is the League of Women Voters Night still on the website? If you get a chance, sitting in the audience, and you want to see the 3 candidates, in fact, they're all 3 here tonight, take a look at it. And I think we'll probably put the other ones up too.
Oh, they're not ours, so.
Chamber of Commerce, they won't work.
Okay.
All right, anything else? All right, let's adjourn the meeting.
Hey, let's get a board picture. One last match.